Hello everyone, I'm Justin Gonzalez and welcome to It Worked, where I'll be looking at educational apps, tech, and projects that work in the classroom. One of the main projects I wanted to focus on this year was that of flexible seating. In years past, I've always felt that I've done a pretty good job of giving students voice and choice on assignments and ways to demonstrate their learning, and I felt why not do that with how they learn best and where they learn best in the classroom with flexible seating. Knowing these group of students that were going to come into our classroom this year, I wanted to roll it out in a way where, one, it could be exciting for them, but two, also kind of a norm for the classroom. So knowing your students is kind of key for this. We had an area in the room already set up with a low table and cushions, and at the beginning of the day, just telling students to walk in, find a chair. And coming from second grade, coming from first grade, coming from kindergarten, a lot of these students already had or always had assigned seats. So coming into a third grade classroom with no seat that is their own was a learning curve for them. After a few days of just them being able to pick their spots and where they sit, we decided to roll out and actually talk about flexible workspaces and kind of how they're making those choices already. In order to roll this out effectively, I wanted to give students a background and real world applications on how this is seen in the real world. And one way we've done that was by showcasing what Starbucks has done in their coffee shops. A week prior, I went into a Starbucks and I recorded just a walkthrough of it. And in class, we were able to discuss those points, what they've seen. They've seen high tables, they've seen low tables, they've seen outdoor seating, lounge spaces. They also talked about lighting. They also talked about how people were there working. And I think that was very important for them to see that, because at one point, a student comes up and says, "Mr. Gonzalez, why can't we do that in our classroom?" And that was when I smiled really big and I said, well, we're going to make our classroom a very enjoyable space for us to work. From the beginning, students knew the purpose. They knew that the purpose was to give students that choice, the option to choose what works best for them. So it's always been in the hands of the students, and that was the purpose from the beginning. We also talked about etiquette, which when you're at a coffee shop or when you're at the gym, those are some of the questions that we ask, and so we kind of brought that in and saying those are the types of things that we should be asking if you want to go to a space that might be open. Another important piece of this was giving students the opportunity to try each space, modeling each space and really setting the expectations on what that area should look like, sound like, essentially what you want from them and what they should be doing in those particular spaces, those areas. I can't stress enough how important it is to model and set those expectations for each of the areas that you'll be implementing in your classroom. As long as you're patient and you remind the students of the expectations, hopefully this works. We're in about the second week of our rollout of flexible workspaces, and even then there's still students that are having some difficulty, but I know that with time it will be hopefully smooth sailing. In the end, remember the purpose, to give students the option to choose what works best for them for their learning. Comment below and share any ideas that you've tried in your classroom in terms of flexible seating. And don't forget to subscribe to follow more videos from It Worked. Thanks.